She had given her life to helping others, calm hands, steady voice, a nurse who healed strangers without hesitation. But that night inside a crowded hall, no one came to heal her. A group of bullies pushed her down, her body crashing to the floor as laughter echoed around her. For a moment, it seemed she would stay there, broken and humiliated. But when she rose again, the entire room froze. No one had expected what came next. Maria had always been known as the quiet one at the hospital. She worked the long shifts, stayed behind to check charts, and walked home in silence. A life dedicated to service had left her with little time for herself, but it gave her a resilience few could see. That evening, she attended a small community gathering, one she almost skipped. She wasn't used to being around large, noisy groups, but a colleague insisted she join. The hall was crowded, filled with chatter, music, and the faint smell of cheap beer. That's when she noticed them, three men at the back, eyes scanning the crowd, smirks curling on their lips. They weren't here to celebrate, they were here to dominate, and unfortunately their eyes landed on her. At first it was just words, snide remarks about her plain clothes or tired face, but words quickly turned into shoves. The crowd seemed to retreat, pretending not to notice. Maria stumbled back, clutching her bag. Then came the shove that sent her sprawling. She hit the floor hard, her knees scraping against the wooden boards. Laughter erupted around her, filling the air with cruelty. But as she pushed herself up, something shifted. In the silence between their laughter, she realized something. This wasn't about her weakness. It was about their arrogance. And in that moment, she decided she wouldn't be their victim. The bullies didn't expect her to rise so quickly. They were still laughing, nudging one another when Maria pushed herself upright. Her hands trembled, not with fear, but with adrenaline. She scanned the floor and spotted it, a chair knocked to the side during the scuffle. Its leg had splintered off, jagged and rough. Without hesitation, she gripped it, the wood biting into her palm. The room shifted. The laughter stuttered into silence. The men who once seemed so towering suddenly looked unsure. Her eyes, no longer downcast, locked onto theirs with a fury no one had seen before. One of them stepped forward, still smirking, but his voice cracked as he taunted her. Maria didn't answer. She just took one step forward, the broken chair leg steady in her grip. The room collectively held its breath. Every instinct screamed at her to back down. She was outnumbered, outweighed, and out of her element. But something else screamed louder. The memory of patience she had defended, nights she had endured, the quiet strength she carried for years. She wasn't just a nurse in that moment. She was a storm that had been forced quiet for too long. The crowd, sensing the shift, began to edge closer, whispers rushing through them like sparks catching fire. Some pulled out their phones, expecting chaos. Others just stared, stunned. The bullies exchanged uncertain glances. Their power was crumbling, not because of the makeshift weapon in her hand, but because of the unflinching will in her eyes. Still, the leader lunged. His confidence, once absolute, faltered as Maria sidestepped, the chair leg rising in a sharp arc. She didn't strike, but the crack of wood against the table was enough to reverberate through the hall like thunder. The message was clear. She wasn't afraid anymore. The room erupted, not in laughter this time, but in gasps and murmurs. The balance of power had shifted. The leader froze, arms still midair, as the splintered chair leg hovered inches from him. For the first time, his bravado evaporated. Behind him, his friends stumbled back, unsure whether to intervene or flee. Maria's voice, steady and low, cut through the charged silence. Not tonight. That was all it took. The hall that had moments ago echoed with cruelty now stood hushed, every eye fixed on the woman they thought was fragile. The bullies, suddenly small under the weight of their own shame, backed away. Their laughter had died, replaced with the unmistakable sound of fear. The crowd parted as Maria lowered the chair leg, her hands no longer trembling. People whispered, some in awe, some in disbelief. A few even clapped quietly, as though honoring a moment of courage they had just witnessed. The bullies retreated to the back of the hall, no longer predators, but shadows of what they pretended to be. Maria stood tall, the splintered weapon at her side, but her eyes spoke louder than any words could. She had taken back her dignity. When Maria finally set the chair leg aside, her body felt heavy, but her spirit burned brighter than ever. She wasn't a fighter, at least not in the traditional sense. But that night proved something important. Strength doesn't always come in fists or fury. Sometimes it comes in the quiet resolve to stand back up when no one expects you to. The crowd never forgot what they saw. The woman they once ignored had become a symbol of defiance, a reminder that bullies thrive only on silence and submission. Maria had shattered that silence. As she walked out of the hall, heads turned not in mockery but in respect. And though her knees still ached from the fall, her steps were steady. Perhaps the most powerful moment wasn't when she raised the chair leg, but when she decided to rise at all. Because courage doesn't begin with weapons, it begins with refusing to stay down. And so, one question lingered in every witness's mind that night. When cruelty pushes us to the floor, will we have the courage to stand back up?